Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So I talked about giving how do you use Amazon Bedrock. So first, I want to go over how I view the builder landscape. Like we mentioned, cloud is a very big thing. There could be a lot of expertise needed for certain workloads. When we start at the beginning, we can think of the actual infrastructure that's needed to run machine learning. So this is like ML infrastructure, like in AWS terms, we have AWS Trainium, which is the actual physical chip, which is running the compute. If you move up one layer up the stack, we have ML services like Amazon SageMaker, and this allows people to build and customize their own custom models. If you ever use the Jupyter notebook, this is where most of the practitioners work in. If you move up one layer up the stack, we have AI services like Amazon Recognition. So these are, think of them as API requests. So if I want to do something for image recognition or speech recognition or transcribing or translating, there's an API that someone can access to do those services, and AI is working the back end, but you don't need to, the intricacies of how everything's working. And if we move up one layer up the stack, we have AI applications like Alexa, which this allows any folk to just under a command, do something, and the AI will take over and and give you the result back. So my focus is on the AI services. This is where I think most builders are going to be actively doing things, developing things, and where most in progress. So I'm really excited about these AI services. And people in the industry also are very excited about, like, there's going to be more AI engineers and like low-level machine learning engineers, LLM engineers. So really, how can you leverage these new AI services on top of cloud to actually start building stuff? So with that, Amazon Bedrock is the easiest way to build and scale generative AI applications with foundation models. So what is a foundation model? So if you're familiar with traditional machine learning, you need lots of data. So think of, if you want to do a sentiment analysis model, you would have a bunch of labeled data saying like, this movie is bad, this movie is great, and like negative, positive, and tens of thousands of examples. Feed that to a transformer training architecture, and then you have a model can just predict based on text sentiment analysis. And you have to do the same thing. You want a QA or chatbot or information extracting all these labeled examples. And that's very time consuming, and the model is only good for one thing. With foundation models, we have a new training method where we can just pass in unlabeled amounts of data sets and have the model learn what the actual responses are and be able to figure out like what text summarization or generation is. So this allows the models to be much more capable and doing lots of cool things. So if you played around with tools like ChatGPT, you can see it can answer all sorts of type of cool questions through commands. And this is really the foundation of what we want to build these new AI services on. So Amazon Bedrock, we allow you to have choices to different foundation models. So we have Jurassic 2, there's Cohere, Stable Diffusion allows you to generate images. We'll look into that. Claude 2 is a very strong model. So we also have support for that. And we also have our own Amazon models. So this agenda, I'm going to talk about, we're actually going to start building stuff. So I wanted to give a high level overview of like what generative AI is, application foundation model, but then let's actually start building applications, because that's really what my focus and passion is on. So first off, I want to talk about some of the tools that we use for building. So my background is a Python developer. So if you've been playing a lot of AI, you probably see a lot of folks using Python. So if you really want to get started building, like using foundation models or AIs, I recommend Python is a good place to start. One tool I really enjoy is called Streamlit. It allows you to make full stack web applications all in Python without having to have any front-end experience. So if you ever use HTML, CSS, or JavaScript, it can get quite annoying building out these things. So Streamlit provides a very easy interface to build applications with just in pure Python. It really speeds up development and you get cool examples. There's also a framework called LangChain, which allows you to compose large language model applications. So if you ever played with any type of LLM application, you probably have seen LangChain. So I'll go over how it uses, you can leverage it to build your own applications like chatbots or retrieval augmented generation, chatting with your document. So very, very fun, useful library. And then we have some model parameters. If you've heard of temperature, it really controls how random the model is. So the lower the temperature, the more deterministic, or the more the same, the outputs will most likely be the same. But by their nature, large language models will always put different outputs. So temperature is just one way to control how it looks like. the response. Top P is just about confident answers. It's usually set to the highest response. So this generates the token that's most likely to come out. Like the quick brown box would be like the next token. So top P is about how can I make sure the most common tokens come after me. And then top K is about making the word phrases more. So if you don't want a model to keep using the same words over and over, this is some of the parameters you can play with when you're building. And there's also Amazon Code Whisperer. So this is an AI application coding companion. So coding companions are very useful if you wanted to be able to just get information in the code. You can write a comment out there and it will give you suggestions about how you can do the next part of your code. We had an internal survey at Amazon, and we found 57% of people were faster using coding companion, and then 27% more likely to succeed. So it really ramps up development speed, so you can start building and delivering value for your customers. All right, with that, let's build. This is what y'all want to see. So the first application I'm going to demo is we're going to build a playground where we can actually put in text prompts and then get an image back. We're going to use the Stable Diffusion model to power that. So let's see how we actually walk through the end-to-end application of building this. And I'm going to demo Amazon Q, actually, which was just released last week at reInvent. So this is it uses Code Whisperer to help generate code. So you can see how even if you're not an expert programmer, you can use tools like AI to help you actually build applications. So in this application, we have you have a select box for styles. Then we have some text that says run into that somebody can enter in, and then we have a button, and then we have an image that gets generated. So let's actually walk through building that looks like. And happy to take any questions. I can drop them in chat. If I'm going too fast or anything, please just stop questions. And this is, again, your session. I'm just going to kind of show you some cool things I'm building. So if anything doesn't make sense or you want to see something else, I'm happy to pivot, but we can start here and then we'll see what are y'all most interested in.
Yeah. Banjo, just that so some people who are completely new, maybe you just want to highlight why is generative AI going to be very important, or why should someone really get into it? Maybe just to capture some people who are just wondering what generative AI is. And I'm sure, yeah, they'll definitely love to see the demo because that's what get them started. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think going through the demo, you'll kind of start seeing what generative AI can really do. So let's go through that first, and okay. I'm sure some ideas will come up. So
great, thanks.
So this is you see my screen, right?
Yes, you can see the screen.
Yeah, cool. So I got this simple app where this is building with Bedrock, Stable Diffusion. And you remember, if we go back to our PowerPoint, we want like this text box. We have a select style. We want to generate this. So if I'm completely new, I don't know what really to do. I put some boilerplate code here. So the boilerplate code is really just about like these are the styles we had set. I have a function to actually call Amazon Bedrock, but I want to have that text box. So with Amazon Q, you can actually ask a chat there. So I'm going to ask it. I mentioned I'm using Streamlit, so I'm going to ask, how can I add a text box to a Streamlit? And a text box to a Streamlit application. So now you see how it's able to actually say, I asked it a question, here's a few examples, and it gives you text equals st area, and I can actually take that code and directly put it into my application, enter text. So using the st, so it gives me multiple ways to do it. So as me as a developer, I can say, oh, do I want a text area? Do I want a text input? I can render static text. So it's giving me options of how I can actually do the code. So if I'm very new and not understanding, it's able to get that code, tell me what to do, and it can even cite where it got that information for. So it has the Stack Overflow here. So if I say enter prompt, so text equals enter prompt, and if I go back to my application, I rerun it, we have a text prompt there. So using generative AI, I'm able to write exactly in my code editor, ask questions, get information, and it gives me code. So if I'm not quite familiar on how to do something, the AI assistant in my code editor is going to be able to help me start building things. But this was the first thing I wanted to prompt. So the next thing I wanted, so does that make sense? Does that kind of see how we started to use generative AI, how I was able to actually get code, ask questions, and help my development cycle? Any thoughts or questions on that? Okay, so the next part, yeah, go ahead.
Titus, you came on mute. Did you have a question? No, I think no question. It seems
No question for now.
Okay, cool. So the next part I wanted, go back to our sample app. We want to have this select style. So one thing I can really ask is I have this select styles here. So I can ask, how can I, with the array of styles I have, how can I create a drop-down list in Streamlit for the user to pick a style? So see, I'm asking the AI, how can I do things? How can I help? How can it, and it's going to generate my answer, and it has the context of my actual code. So see how it was it even has the code that I already had. So this is really one thing I really enjoy about using tools like this. It has the context of the code I want to have, and it can able to do that. It's able to understand that, and I can even press this button, insert a cursor, and it'll put the code in there for me. I have to edit it a little bit. So when people say like, oh, programming jobs are going to go away, like that's not happening, because you can see how it puts this code in here, but I still have to edit it because it doesn't have the complete understanding that I already presented it up here. So you as a developer builder, you're going to have to understand how the AI can assist you, but ultimately a human's going to have to come in, edit some things. Coding is not going to go away. You need to know how to build things that, like, I would highly recommend, like, don't be afraid that programming jobs are going to go away, because the AI system is very helpful for somebody that knows what they're doing, but it can't replace everything completely. Yeah, that's a big. So now I have the selected style checkbox, the C sets, and let's see, comment code. Go back, and now look, I can pick the style. So and then even put something about my selected style. Okay, so now that we have this part, what we really want is to generate the image, right? So that was really the big thing. So selected style. Okay, so we want to put this all together. So we can highlight all this code and say, how can I create a button that calls my API with the selected style and prompt to display an image, because that's what we ultimately want this to do. Let's see if the AI is smart enough to understand that. Okay, so it gives me something. Call API. So yeah, it didn't quite understand it, that I already have a function to generate this image. If st button generate image, call API, show the image. So see, it gave me some code, but I have to interpret what code is most useful, because this call API function actually is not going to help me. So because I already defined something here, so I have to go back to this, generate image, and then we have text and selected style, and then all right. So let's see, we have generate image, text, selected style. Okay. And now if I go back, all right, so let's say a cat jumping into the water. Oh, I got an error. Oh, wow, what's this error? All this things, text. So this looks like a base 64 string. So if I was a completely new developer, I'm like, oh, what is this? I don't know really what's going on here. But the issue is that this image that's returned is actually a string. So we need to actually convert this to a base 64, it returned a base 64 string. So we need to return it to an image. So I'm I'm not quite sure how to do that. So I'm going to ask my AI assistant, like, I got this weird error. I got this weird error. What was that area? Media file, blah, blah, blah. Like, it seems like it's like a string. How can I convert this to an image? Oh, so I don't think it understood all this stuff. So let's say, how can I convert a base 64 string to an image? All right, so it gave me some functions here. All right, so decoded equals this. So we have the base code and we encode it. So let's try running this, see if we can figure this out. Image equals, so let's call it decoded equals base 64 decode image. And then image equals, so let's see, we have to import these things. Let's grab this and import. Image. IO. All right. Let's see if this fixes it. All right. More try. Fingers crossed. Ta-da! Got a cat jumping into water. So you saw how we can use generative AI to debug, look through things, play around with things, and I didn't have to leave my browser. Before, I'd have to go to Google, do these searches, read through Reddit posts. Everything I was able to do directly in the browser, powered through generative AI, and these are using Amazon Q, and then Bedrock is the power that generates this image. I didn't quickly how the image actually gets generated. With Bedrock, you really all you have to do is pass in the model you want to use. So Stable Diffusion, I mentioned that can generate images. The Bedrock runtime has this invoke model function that sends it to the Bedrock service, and then you just get back that base 64 string. So it's very simple. There's no infrastructure, no EC2 instance, nothing. All you do is you pass in. So we just passed in the text and the style we wanted. We passed it using this invoke model function, and it returns something. So you have an API that can generate images, generate text, all without having to worry about infrastructure, spinning up EC2 instances, nothing like that. So this makes generative AI very approachable. And we also had it helping in our browser directly. So this is really what I want to get people to start understanding, that we can build amazing things without right in our browser, understanding, building things like right in the VS Code. So this very exciting time to be a builder. So I'm gonna stop here and take any questions or thoughts of anything else you want to see or anything that was not that made sense in that demo.
I have a question. So, I see all this Python code, and I wonder how much Python you need to know to be able to mess around with generative AI.
Right. So questions really about do you need to know a lot about coding to mess around with generative AI? And that the answer is no. There are generative AI tools where you don't need to code. Like I mentioned, I'm sure you've seen ChatGPT, very popular. You can start playing around with that. But for this demo I was showing, generative AI is useful. If you want to start building applications, you need to know some coding. When people say coding is going to go away, we just saw firsthand that's not going to happen. The large language models, by their nature, are going to hallucinate, make things up, and you have to have an expert human to understand what's going on. How can I interpret the results? How can I play around with it? So if you want to use generative AI for like writing blog posts or editing stuff, you can use tools like ChatGPT, Bard, whatever to do that. That's great. But when you're actually building, developing applications, you're going to have to need to know some coding to actually understand the results, manipulate them, and build something. Because if you have no idea how to write in the code, you're going to get an error like we got earlier and have no idea how to debug that. So yes, you need to know to do some coding, I recommend Python. It's very easy to get started. There are many resources out there. So yes, don't shy away from coding.
Thank you.
And if I will follow up with that, what level of coding should we just say fundamentals, intermediate, for someone looking to that?
Yeah, I think it's good to have a baseline understanding, so that a beginner level. But once you kind of understand the ins and outs of how to write code, so like I have an if statement, the loops, how to call applications, how to import things. So then you have to start playing around with it, because you can start studying and doing everything all you want, but until you actually start trying to build something, you're not going to run into something. So actually starting to build things, play around with something, a project, even building something as simple as this. Like you saw, the errors came up, things I'm doing. I have a lot of boilerplate code coming here. Like, so I say beginner level, but then you have to start building and exploring on yourself. Like no one's gonna walk you through building things. At some point, you're gonna have to take the keyboard and start writing code, doing things. You can even ask the AI to write some code for you, and you can start building. So you have a baseline understanding at a beginner level, but then you have to start experimenting and building. That's really the only way to learn and understand the nuances of what's going on.
I have a question, because after looking at the demo, I'm thinking to myself, you need to know how to put prompts. You need to know how to ask the AI for what. And without that fundamental knowledge of how to interact with AI, it will not be very useful for you, in order to achieve that. So besides learning the fundamentals of Python, what do you suggest for generative AI?
Yeah, I mean, using AI, I like this question I first asked, how can I add a text box to a Streamlit application? Like, you don't have to have a master or crazy prompt. I'm just asking very conversational questions for this. But yeah, sometimes you're going to get parts that you need to understand. Like, this is having a background knowledge is going to ask you a better question. So, for example, when I add this error in, and it said it couldn't understand because I had all this text, I knew it was a base 64 string. So I was able to say, how can I convert a base 64 string to an image? If you didn't have this background knowledge or understood that, this would have been a much harder problem to debug. But because I've had the experience of doing that, I'm able to jump around. So yes, having fundamental skills in Python programming is going to help you be a better, as we say, prompt engineer, to ask better questions. So you can't shy away from learning how to code and build things. AI tools are great, but it doesn't replace experience and understanding building things. So don't listen to people saying you don't know how to code, programming is going away. That's totally false. And I will say there'll even be more programmers in the future, in my opinion, because there's so many people going to try to build things like that and have errors come out. So yes, get the fundamentals, start learning, start building. That's really the best way to learn. It's going to make you a better engineer, prompt engineer, and builder all around.
Yeah, because from my experience, I think like, when I get I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer from my background, but when I get this kind of problems, I'm just like, okay, I put in the error there and I ask the AI, with this kind of issue, what should I do?
Right.
And they answer the questions really like, okay, yeah, this issue, these are the possible solutions. So no matter what, you should really be very good with your asking skills, because the AI is just like an assistant, so.
Exactly. So the better questions you can ask the assistant, the more helpful it will be. So yes.
Thank you so much, Banjo, for your presentation. I just have one question. I can see that you're using Amazon Q directly from your text editor. How did you get this integrated, and can you integrate it with other stuff on your laptop apart from the text editor, so it assists you directly while you're working?
Yeah, so right now, Amazon Q, it was just released last week at reInvent, and it's in the Amazon console and the Amazon Docs and the IDE and other Amazon properties, but not like an external application. So it's not like in Microsoft Word or anything like that yet, at least. So for how Amazon thinking about it is to help builders build applications. So for me, Visual Studio Code is the most useful place for me, but depending on what other tools you use, there might be other AI applications, but Amazon Q is not available on those at the moment.
Okay, so is there a way of integrating it to VS Code?
Oh, this is VS Code.
Yeah, would you like to show us, or can you link us to somewhere we can read about it and
Oh yeah,
use?
there's
Okay.
actually an extension. I mean, I can post the extension.
All right.
Yeah, extensions, Amazon Toolkit. If you install this, this gets added directly to your VS Code. Like it's as easy as pressing the install button in Amazon Toolkit.
Okay, thank you so much.
And with this, you can use any language, right?
Yeah, so I use Python, but it can be it supports Java, C, 15 different languages. Like, yeah, even CloudFormation if you write infrastructure as code.
Terraform.
Terraform, yes. So yeah, so it's great for just asking questions, building things. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions for Banjo? I think so far. Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. Go
Sorry.
ahead. If someone had a question, go ahead, Tio.
Yeah, I was just trying to mute and was not going. Oh, so hi, Banjo. A little from my side, I thank you for doing this presentation and enlightening us of what is happening outside there in the world. I just wanted to go back to your slide about foundational models and ML based models, and ask if by this classification you mean that the foundational models are basically unsupervised learning models in machine learning, and traditional models are supervised learning models in machine learning.
Yeah, so I mentioned how you need a big data set, like is this movie bad? Is this movie good? So yeah, that'll be considered supervised learning because we're providing the training examples. But with this, we're not providing like examples. We're just giving unlabeled data, and we're using there's a technique called reinforcement learning human feedback. So this is where a human would say, oh, this is a good response to that. This is another, and that can help learn the model, but it's not providing like a labeled data set. So we call this unsupervised learning.
Okay. And then so this code AWS toolkit plugin in extension in VS Code is free, or?
Yes, this is free. You can download it. I post a link in the chat. It's free. Right now, Q's in preview, but Q will cost money at some point, but Code Whisperer is free. So this is the one that you can put comments and it can write the code for you. But yes, the plugin is free to download. You can download it right now and start using it without having to pay.
Okay. Thank you.
Any more questions? I think if we're waiting for questions, I think I just want to comment that this is definitely exciting times for developers, as Banjo has demonstrated, because if you have to imagine if you have to do all of these things before without generative AI helping you, right, Banjo? This was much more challenging, and but yeah. So I think this will instead be motivating for everyone here. I know who has always been afraid of coding, thinking that it's not possible. There are a lot of services coming in to assist you to be to be better. And one thing that Banjo said that I did find very important is you have to start building something, right? No one is going to walk you completely through it and you become an expert, because once you do the fundamentals of Python and you start doing very basic, simple applications, and then it becomes a kind of training. You start training your own self. For prompt engineering, you'll be better in prompting questions. I think there are some short courses on prompt engineering. You can look at that as well. Just like for those who use ChatGPT, the better you ask your question, the more better answer you have. So the encouragement that we can just be encouraging everyone in the community here is, we for those of you who don't know, we have a Python workshop coming up in January. If you have not done that, try to come around, see what you can learn about Python. And then with that, you just start trying. If you don't have Visual Code Studio installed, we'll always help you set that up. And once you start doing some of these things, as we always say here, you start realizing that actually some of these things that look so complex are actually you can actually access them. And you have been able to see in the demo how some of these things can be done. So that was just a comment I wanted to share based on what we have just talked about, and hopefully that can be an important takeaway as we continue. So yeah, so Banjo, over to you.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I had more demos, but I'm interested to see what's more interested, because I can walk through doing other things, but I know there are a lot of different questions and different type of things, so I'm happy to go over anything really about generative AI. This is really your space. I want to be as helpful as possible. I have a lot of knowledge and know how to use Gen AI, so really want to hear what your thoughts and what you're most interested about or curious, or what really you want about cloud Gen AI. Happy to dive further.
I think on that, I don't know. I was during the keynote by the CEO, he did talk about the different. He did mention that I think it's the 3 different layers, right? The infrastructure, the tools, and then the applications. We have Amazon Q, and I think Amazon Q also for Amazon QuickSight, and it could be falling on those applications that are building up on top of the different tools with Bedrock, as you have done. I think I did find that very interesting. I think maybe just touching on those layers so that people understand when we talk about where they fall, right? I think it will be helpful for so that some people may think Amazon Bedrock and Amazon Q lie on the same layer, but these are one is built on top of the other. I think it helps also the audience to capture.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier how how I looked at the builder landscape. So they had a cooler graphic than me, but I talked about the bottom layer, the ML infrastructure. So this is the hardware that machine learning algorithms are running on. So the actual chips, and that's the bottom layer of the stack. So this is in Amazon, we have a Amazon Trainium and Inferentia. So this is when you think of like instances and like compute, this is what's running all that. If you move up one layer up the stack, this is where people are actually building the actual models. So this is in Amazon SageMaker. So this is like a machine learning expert or a large language model machine learning research engineer. They use tools like this. The next layer of the stack is the application layer. So that was using Amazon Bedrock. So this is where I mentioned most people can be spending their time doing. So we saw how we use Amazon Bedrock to use the stable diffusion model, and it wasn't much code. It was just boilerplate code that I passed the text to, and it was able to send something back. And the AI applications are, like I said, you don't have to be an expert user. So Amazon Q, Amazon Alexa, like things like that. Oops. Or you just ask it a question, it does something, but it's using generative AI in the background. So those are the layers of the stack. My graphic isn't as cool as the one in the keynote, but I encapsulated to the same type of material they presented.
Great, thank you. Yeah.
Let's see. Guess what else is useful? I guess one thing that people always wondered about when it comes to a lot of things, how can I chat with my own documents so I can walk through what that actually means, chatting with my own documents. So let me, kick this out. Yeah, let's do this one. I can say, what does the, how can I deploy secure VPC? So I asked it, but like, how can I deploy your VPCs? It should be able to get information from the AWS or architected framework. Let's see if this works. So this chatbot is actually getting information from the AWS well architected framework to answer questions. And it's able, I can ask it, I made this chatbot and I passed it in a data source. So let's see how that actually works behind the scenes. Let's go to, so I mentioned LangChain. LangChain is a framework that allows you to make composable applications. I don't want to go too much over it, but with this amount of code, I'm able to generate an entire chatbot. There's about 3 lines of code to make a chatbot agent. And then I'm using Streamlit to handle how the messages happen. And then my chatbot is able to respond to questions. So you can see behind the scene is able to ask, it gives you a model what it is, how can I deploy secure VPCs, and then actually responds to the answer. But the cool thing is really, how do I get the information about all of that? So I don't know if people have tried to do web scraping before. It's very, very annoying to do web scraping, but I've actually created some code that could actually go through a sitemap. So let me say what a sitemap is. So if you go to a website, they have a sitemap, and the sitemap actually has every link to that website. So if I open like one of these links, open link. This is actually the AWS well architected framework. So I know some of y'all have the certification, so you probably read through this and looked through it a lot. But it's a lot of information, and you can see all these links. And there's like, I have like 6, 7 of these XML files, and then all these links. So what I did, I actually made a chatbot that can scrape through all of these links and then put it into a database, and then have my chatbot ask any question from that. So you have a question.
Yeah, just a quick question about the sitemap. How do we get the sitemap? I mean, it's a sitemap.
Yeah. So it's just a website the well architected security pillar, the sitemap.xml. Most sites that have this file, like if you just go to the base and put sitemap.xml, and it will have all the links that it links to.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So with that, I'll walk through the code briefly. So I mentioned LangChain earlier again. If you ever tried to scrape websites before, there are a lot of tools that can be very confusing and lots of different things. But with LangChain, it actually gives you a loader, which you just actually pass in the URLs, and it's able to get that information. And then it gives you an ability to actually extract text from that. So I'm extracting the text and then getting it, and I'm putting this into a database. So with about 4 lines of code, I'm able to just scrape all the information from websites and get all the text data I need. And with that, there's a concept called embeddings. So embeddings takes raw text and turns that into numbers. And because they're put in a number format, so think of a list of just a bunch of different numbers, a bunch of different search algorithms that are optimized for that. So I can say secure VPCs, and then it can look through all the text to find that matches secure VPCs, and I can get that information back. So this code is just embedding that text and putting into a local, what we call vector database. So you're going to hear that term a lot, vector database. This is how I can take a raw text, turn it to numbers, and then put it in a database for a model to search for. So in my application, when I asked it about when I asked about secure VPCs, it was able to actually go through all the data I had, and then with that answer, take the information and pass it back to me, so it knows the actual right thing to say. So that's a really I think that's going to be the biggest thing people can ask to. How can I chat with my documents? That's going to be anyone that's using generative AI. That's the first thing they want to know. I have a bunch of documents. How can I chat with it? And then using tools like Amazon Bedrock to embed the data, making a vector database, and then passing that information to the model. That's going to be, I'd say that's probably the first thing people should actually try to build with that. Trying to see if I have an example. Oh, I have it here. Okay. Yeah. So in this example, so I mentioned the embeddings. This is when I'm loading the database, and I'm doing this similarity search. This is the math that happens as finding the exact thing, and then able to return the information. So this is about 5 lines of code that can retrieve the information from a vector database and pass it back to the model so it can use it to answer the question. So I think this is a very good first project for anyone interested in generative AI. I have a bunch of documents. How can I chat with those documents and ask questions about it? So and using tools like this is this very, very great use case to see the power of generative AI and how it can work and how you can use Python or Amazon Bedrock to help you do that and main chain. So this very exciting times. I'll pause here to dive deeper into any questions or thoughts that you might have.
I mean, no question from me, but I really find this really cool chatting with your document. I mean, so far the only type of chat I've done is Control F. But it's nice having it's cool. Thank you for this. We really see how we can put it in your daily life. I mean,
Thank you for that. And I also linked the code to all this code I've been sharing. It's already on GitHub, so you all can run it as well. I just linked it into the chat. And it goes through step by step on how you can build this. So it's also a very fun exercise to do, get you up to speed. So I just linked that. And I have a blog post accompanying it too, and I'll also link that as well. Any other questions? Okay, well, that's really all I wanted to show. I think those are the big use cases, how we can use Bedrock, how we can use tools like Amazon Q. I've linked the documentation of all the code that I've shown here. It's already on GitHub. You can run it locally, start playing with it, and I linked my blog post so you can read about it more. This is the most exciting time to be a builder. So I really encourage you all to go through this content, build things, see what happens, learn. You're going to struggle through something, but that's okay. You're all here together as a community. Leverage each other to see how you can build things together. But that's really the best way to learn. You're going to have to get dirty, start writing code, deploying things, see errors happen. But we're here to help sure that you learn and get through it together. So feel free to ping me or anyone else. I'm always happy to help.
Great. Great stuff, Banjo. I mean, I was just imagining the use cases, especially chatting with your documents so maybe some people can start thinking if you are working in a company and with the internal websites, if all of this, if you create an application that can be able to access all the internal websites, then you have someone sitting on the service desk and just ask questions on the prompt and get information from the website rather than trying to find it on it. So again, as been mentioned here, it's really quite exciting to build now. And for those who didn't think they could build, actually you can do now, do that. And I think, it's really great examples that have demonstrated the power of generative AI. And this is just, I think Banjo will accept that this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is really a lot. And as everyone starts learning and starts building, you'll be amazed with what you can do. I think, Banjo, many people would like here to follow you on LinkedIn. So I know you're always open to that. Maybe if you share your LinkedIn so that
let me get my
chat.
profile.
Right. Yeah, then they can follow you and then just to have that. But this has been very, very helpful. And I don't know if you don't have a question, but you just want to come up and comment on what you followed today. Yeah, because we've got the key demonstrations, or you've at least had what we had today. So please feel free if you have any comments, or have any words for Banjo. He has taken his time to come talk to us. Please do so before he goes.
Thank you so much for this talk. I mean, actually, when I saw the title of the talk today, I was like, I can't miss it, you know. And I'm sure you do. You really did deliver. Because I mean, I was just taken aback. Like the first thing I asked was like, is that VS Code? Wow, okay, good enough. You can integrate Amazon Q, because actually when Amazon Q was announced by the Adams Levinsky, I don't know how to this other name.
Lepsky, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it really made news, you know, within the industry, and like, oh, did you see Amazon Q? And I mean, there are some companies, like the company that I'm working with, they would not allow you to use the Amazon Q, you know, I mean, for some security reasons, you know, like as you just demonstrated with the respect to going through documents, you know, for some reason they feel like if it goes through their documents, I mean, you know, how secure is this? You know, all of those security concerns always come up. And well, I mean, knowing that I can do this privately on my own and experiment, it really makes me like, okay, something to start trying. And coincidentally, I mean, when I talk to people and somebody's asking me like, okay, which language should I learn? I always say Python, because like that's the language. This is it, you know, like this is the language that you should learn, you know. I mean, especially if you want to get to cloud computing, you should then at least have a fundamentals of cloud compute of Python, you know. So I'm really happy you came and you showed us this end to end, you know, and that's very important. Like, okay, I can go back now and do this end to end. I actually see from start to end what happens, you know, and be proud of myself if I successfully do it. But if I don't, then maybe I'll shoot you a comment on LinkedIn. Thank you so much for coming here, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I'm excited for you to see what you build.
Hi, Banjo. My next question is, what is the pathway to become an Amazon developer advocate?
Yeah, so a developer advocate is a very unique role. For me, it was really about how can I inspire other developers to build. I mean, I spoke at conferences. I had a meetup group I mentored. I wrote blog posts. I was on Stack Overflow helping people. And I actually wrote a blog post on how I became one. So I'll post that blog post here too, so you can read my full story. But yeah, it's really about how can I help people be better. That's really what it comes down to. And I love to build. I love to see other people succeed. And it's really that mindset and motivation that got me to where I am today. So yeah, feel free to read the blog post and see my story of how I became a developer advocate.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Banjo, for creating the time and having this session with us. Not only the theory part, what I also appreciate is the demo part. The first one was just fun, like a cat jumping over the river. Then this one also is really practical in the sense that this is something that we can do at home and have fun with the tools. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Of course, excited to see what you build.
I see no more comments, but Banjo, I don't know if you you want to make a comment on Party Rock?
Yeah, I can show Party Rock. Yeah. Someone mentioned how can you get started without
I think they would
coding.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Party Rocks is also, it wasn't launched at reInvent, but it was launched maybe a couple days before. But yeah, it's a new service that allows you to make LLM apps without having to do any code. So, and it's free to use. You don't need an AWS account to use it as well, which is also awesome. That's partyrock.aws. I'll link it here too. So Party Rock, you can actually make a app very easily. So you can even, so let's see how it works. You can say build your own app. you can even tell you what the app can do, and it will do some things for you. So for example, an app that can recommend how to start with Python. And let's see what this actually does. How to start learning Python. If that's generate app. Okay. It's taking its time. All right, cool. So now it generated the app. So enter in your, so we can see actually what it put this thing here. So enter your programming experience. I'm going to say beginner. I didn't spell that right. Oops, beginner. What goals are learning Python? Let's say data science. Data science. And now it's generating advice. Here's some recommendations for beginner Python and data science. Python for data science on Udemy, intro to data science. So look, it's giving all this stuff. Kaggle tutorial, data camp, learn the basics of NumPy, pandas, matplotlib, etc. And all this without having to write any code. I've just asked it a question and generated an app for me, and it can give me things. And if you look,
we'll decide it's not to work.
And if you look behind, oops, you can look behind the scenes. You can edit, and you can just say like enter your placeholder, and then if you look here, it's actually to say based on the experiment level of experience and the goals of goals. So you can see how you can pass in variables. Here are some resources, and then you can pick a model to use. So this is a very cool way to build applications without having to do any code, and the model can actually do things for you, and you can add other custom widgets yourself. So I have an app called Chat RPG, which is actually an RPG generator because I like video games and RPGs, and I can say like, this is basically it's like a choose your own adventure. So I say like a world where a knight must save a princess for a dragon. It's going to actually generate the story for me. And I tell it to give me 3 choices each time. So I know the story can continue. But what's cool about it, I'm actually summarizing the story so far. So I'm like, analyze the chat history, get me the key details based on the chat. And then from there, I actually want to say, create a detailed and a specific image based on that summary. And then it's going to generate an image. So it does take a little bit because I'm asking a lot of prompts, but it's really cool. I can change those. I can change this output to this output to this output to then this output. So image to be generating in a second. So this one just says have the image. And ta-da! So yeah, so PartyRock's really awesome to kind of build these quick mini apps. You can start doing things. And again, completely free. You don't need an AWS account to use it, but really, really exciting time. So happy to take any questions on PartyRock or any idea. Maybe that should be a hackathon too. You also just build a PartyRock app first, and then after that, maybe go back and do it with Bedrock. That could be a fun way to learn LLMs and then actually how to code an actual application.
Is it possible to somehow get the code that's running behind one of these apps so you can take it and use it as a starting point to build something else?
No, so the code is all in the PartyRock app. You can't export it. So it's built for non-technical users to build large language model applications. But no, you have to, if you want to have the code, you have to go to Bedrock and use something.
Yeah, Bedrock is really fascinating using it. Yeah, and I can only encourage people to try that. And as mentioned, once you start building, that's the only way to break through, right? If you don't build, you will always be looking like new. Yeah. Right.
And PartyRock's a great way to get started just to see what your idea could be like. I'll link my blog post about Party Rock as well. So a lot of resources here. But yeah, if you don't have any technical experience and you don't want to start writing code right away, I would say look at Party Rock first and get comfortable with learning how to use large language models. And then from there, you can kind of go try to build an application with Bedrock.
Okay. Any more questions for Banjo? If you are all ready, one thing I just want to mention, there is going to be a quick survey. Just tell us, and of course, I'm sure Banjo would like to hear what you all think, and then this will always help us do better. But this has been so helpful. Yeah, and yeah, if you don't have more questions, and I think Banjo, you've touched on everything you had for us, which has been well appreciated. I mean, I want to appreciate you taking the Saturday off for us, 1 hour on the weekend to talk to us. Really, really appreciate it. Then we can definitely catch up. And then for those who want to stay to ask questions about WeFund Cloud or other things for us to talk about, then we can continue. Yeah. So if there is no more questions for Banjo, then
Was there one question? And
is there any other question? I didn't see that.
I saw a hand raised, but maybe it's a mistake.
All right. Des has a hand up. Yeah. Okay. Des, go ahead if you have a question.
Yeah, I just wish to find out from Banjo. Can this app be applicable to those who are in a space shuttling? Those who want to travel to space.
Travel to space. Well, Party Rock's a large language. I mean, if there's a use case for that, then sure. I mean, large language model can be applied to just like computers can be applied to anything. So if you can find a use case, then more power to you. This application is like an RPG generator, so I can say a futuristic city in space. I mean, but I don't know. I'll need more details about your use case. But yes, large language models can be useful in any context you can find it for.
Yes. Then secondly, can it be used in writing stories? If you want to have a comic story, to write a comic story, can you use this app?
Yeah, I mean, we're making a story right now, like whatever this app is. In fact, you can play with this app right now. I'm going to drop the link, and you can play around with it. Like I say, the best way to learn is to build and try things out. This app is up there. You can use it right away. Try to build something. You should try to build something as well. Like I can say you can try to do things. You have to play around and see what actually can be done. The best way to understand how large language models work is to use them. Do not be scared of them. They're very approachable. You don't even need to use code for this one. So this is how I recommend you not. If you haven't done any code or anything before, interested, start here first to try to build an app.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Great. I think that was it, Banjo. I think the community has really caught what you have. If you need arises and if time is available from your end, we can always catch up and talk about the current state. And I know if that is possible, you will be able to just come and share some light again. But for that, I think maybe it will be fair to let you go enjoy the rest of your Saturday, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. Remember to look at my links and share them afterwards. So yeah, all right. Have a good day, everyone.
Yeah. Thanks you very much. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Banjo.
Yeah, okay. Great, everyone. I hope you were able to pick up something from there. And I would just want to say that please look into the survey that is on chat. I think you can help post that again, I think. Yeah. It's the last link, and we'll put that link also on the Telegram group. If you're on the Telegram group, just try to complete that and tell us how you did find this session, and then it will help us when we are bringing the next guest. Just that it aligns with your needs, right? But I'll really recommend that everyone should look into Bedrock. It's very easy to use. You just type a prompt of it. I think just to take that forward, if you just go and type something, it's as easy as Banjo says it. If you just go and type something, it will then generate you a visual, an image or something, and then as it says, it starts helping you build applications. So please do not be scared. Many people are using this. Let me just show you what I've typed and what has just come up, just that you have an idea of what I'm talking about. And then maybe we then go ahead and talk about especially what you would like us to hear this evening. So of course, I'm from SO, so everything I always type, I start from SO. So I write a lady in SO, Cameroon, right? So it just generates an image. If you notice on Facebook now, there are just so many people posting this kind of auto-generated images. Here is a syllable poem, and then it writes, say, in the grassland of so a young woman in her cap tending to her farm, right? So it tries to write it. And all I've done is I've just gone on the website and I've just written a lady in SO, Cameroon. So you can then try with what he has been mentioning about prompt engineering. It's just the way you put your input.
That lady has how many hands?
Now that's a very good question, right?
Okay, just kidding. No.
I was looking at that. I was like, has Bank seen this or is
I know, right? Anyway, but you can change it, right? So just imagine, just go to the website and type and see what put something in the input, which is what is being mentioned there as prompt engineering. And the more you do this, when you start doing this, you get better, right? The more you do this, the more you start realizing what your output is. So you kind of train yourself into it, right? Now you see, I've just typed a lady. Now this is I just deleted that part, and now we have a lady here, and then there's a poem here. So my encouragement is as it's been mentioned, I think anyone who was ever afraid of, I don't know what it means to be a developer, you can see that you can really do a lot. You can have ideas, even if you are not a developer, but also working in almost any, whether you're an architect, right? I think I wanted to show, I think it is Tatiana, maybe you may want to talk about your experience with Amazon Q on the Amazon console. You said you got signed in and it showed up, right? Maybe do you want to mention something? There's Tatiana here with us.
Yeah, I think it was last week while you were mentioning it, that it was being launched at the reInvent.
Yeah.
I remember that I signed into my console and I was greeted by Amazon Q, and yeah, I was working on the AWS documentation, so I wanted to find something about CloudTrail, and I just asked it, and it actually brought out information about CloudTrail and gave me additional links I could go to read more about CloudTrail if I wanted to. So I was like, okay, this is like a kind of AWS ChatGPT. So ChatGPT right on my console. This is good.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my experience with it, and been seeing it while working on the console from time to time.
Right.
So I think it's a wonderful tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially, and the sample question that it displayed was, why can I not SSH into my instance? And this is something everyone might be prompted to ask one time or the other. Maybe you've launched your instance and you're trying to get into it and you cannot. So the sample question is already there. And if you just click on it, it will give you some information on how to navigate that or troubleshoot it. So it's really a handy tool on the console. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who already have an AWS account, unfortunately, I think my session did expire. But once you sign in, we'll be touching a lot on that once, especially in the labs. For those who are already doing the architecting course. For those who are just still doing the fundamentals, you'll come across this once we start that immediately in February. But when you sign into your console, if you don't see it displayed, there's a small button here. If you click on it, it will come up. And all the difficulties you've always had going through documentation, and it will take time. You can just, like Tatiana said, how do I SSH to my instance? So maybe if you type that here, we'll go ahead and then just give you the answer. So for those who are using ChatGPT, I hope my network is not a problem. Can you see? Hello? Mm.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can see you.
All right. So my connection was acting a bit weird. Can everyone hear me? I hope so, yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Right. So those are just some things that you can do, and hopefully that can be of help. So yeah. So any other particular questions or comments that anyone has before and then maybe we'll address the questions from Magdalene and Barbara, and we'll be talking more of that. But any comments in regards to today's sessions or thoughts here? And please remember to complete the survey just to help us get some input. Hopkins left us. Teddy, maybe I will ask you, since you are new here today, maybe you have a comment on coming to our community. How did you find our community so far? If you are speaking, you're on mute. All right, maybe Teddy is not there.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello, Magdalene, go ahead. So we'll go ahead.
Yeah. Hello. I find it amazing, and I'm so happy because I feel at home. Even though I don't know much about everything, but I know when I have help, I know there will be people who will be helping me. Yeah. So I'm so happy to be with you. I'm so happy to be in the community. So I find it grateful and helpful.
Okay, that's great,
Yeah.
Magdalene. We're happy to hear that. And I think if there is no other question on what we've covered, maybe I just address your question. Since I was saying that let's have a talk on what we were having today, then we'll come back to that. But like I mentioned, the key thing, and I don't know, Lady N, do you want to cover that briefly? Let me try to pick on something. Maybe just talk about our roadmap, if that's okay. Just touch on that, and then maybe I just come in shortly. Let me check on something here.
Oh, but before I go into our roadmap, let me just, at the moment, no one has completed the survey. So my question is, can you all access the survey? Is there any error message you're getting? Or if everything is good, please, your feedback is very important to us. It will help us know what we need to adjust or what we are doing right, so that we keep on being consistent, or what you want more in the future. So please help us complete the survey. Okay. Now, while we are speaking about our roadmap, especially to the newcomers, firstly, I hope you have seen my the link I shared in the chat of the registration form. If not, I'm going to share it again. But in the group, when you register, you get into the Refund Cloud main group, and I will share the roadmap, our cloud computing roadmap. So we started with Linux, which was like 2 months ago in October. The networking fundamentals is coming to an end. So the next one we're going to look into is the Python workshop. So it's going to there'll be kind of exercise based, kind of exercise or project based that we're going to be looking at programming with Python. So, and as we saw, but Banjo, he was doing his code was in Python. Clotilde also spoke about Python, that each time she recommends everyone, each time she's speaking to somebody, she recommends them to use Python because Python is a really powerful program, modern as well. You can also use it in various fields, data science, you use Python-based machine learning. If you're interested in machine learning, Python is also the language they use. So having a proficiency in Python, knowing Python, it's very important. And we realize that, and that's why we are giving this, we are going to have this workshop, because it's not all about cloud computing. You'll not only be working with the console and that's everything. You'd have to have some idea about code, which can help you in troubleshooting. We saw, like, for example, with Banjo's demo, there was this error message. Then he had to, even though you have like Code Whisperer or Amazon Q to ask questions, you need to have like some knowledge behind what you're doing, not just working in the dark. Then after the Python workshop, we have the AWS Essentials that will start by the 6th of February. So this to like give you foundations, the basic foundations with AWS Cloud. And this foundation, I mean, this is a good foundation for for you to start with the architecting course after that, because we have the architecting course from the 20th of February. With this, it's kind of also you'll be able to do labs as well. So it's not only theory, we are going to do labs. And by the end of this architecting course, you'll be able to write the AWS solutions architecting exams. So after finishing with the course, we'll also prep you for the exams as well, for you to be fit to have the exams. So that's basically the long and short of it from what we have to mid-year 2024. This architecting course will be like for 4 months. So that's the very long and short of it. If you have questions, drop in. TD, Magdalene, I mean, this basic. Barbara, do you have any questions, comments?
Yeah, I would like to ask how much are we supposed to pay, or and also when are we starting and what are we starting? Read those who don't know anything about IT for beginners. Yeah.
Very good question. So do you want to take that?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, right. For those who didn't have IT, we started with Linux, and then but if you are joining now, I think one thing we are still looking for to see whether it will be possible to have another Linux session. It will depend on the number of people, but we have the sessions recorded. And we always say that just to make sure that we have serious people, if you want to do the fundamental courses, we always say if you pay for WeFund Cloud Premium membership, which involves being a premium group, being able to attend which is 60 euros if you are out of Africa. So 60 euros is the premium membership. At least it covers you for now till end of 2024. Then you are able to access the Linux course, networking, and Python sessions, right? We have sessions are always in the early hours of the morning for now, 5:30 to 7. That's when we have our sessions in terms of time, but maybe that will change in the latter part of next year. But for now, sessions are in the morning. since we have already done the Linux sessions, if you join the premium membership, you can then some students are actually doing that on their own because the Linux course is self-explanatory, and if you have challenges, you can let us know. Yeah. So if you are willing to start, I can say if you take like the Linux classes and start like next week, and you are doing there are about 12 recorded sessions and you are doing one every day, you should be able to finish to be in time for the Python session coming in January. Yeah. Did I answer your question well, Magdalene? At least for the fundamentals.
Yeah. I want to know, you said the days and the time.
Yes,
5:30 in the morning.
to 7 a.m. We'll share that again on the group as well. From 5:30 to 7 a.m. Tuesdays to Friday.
Tuesdays to Friday.
Right. Tuesday to Thursday is always more of covering the material. Wednesday is having a review and trying to handle questions. Then Monday evenings, we have what we call students sessions. So students come in together to kind of, we want to encourage collaboration. So students come in to work on the material on their own with no one joining. That helps you to be able to start networking with people that you meet here, because networking is very important. Yeah, so sessions in the evening on Monday is from 8 p.m.
8 p.m. I want to know the time is fixed, or is there any way that the time can be changed?
No, at the moment it's just 5:30 to 7 a.m. German time, or in Belgium. But
It's
as
the
I said,
same.
yeah, it's the same because of most of the people doing the course are also working, and most people also attending the course are working. So some people find it better but we have had challenges of people saying if it's offered on different times, it will also be better for them. But for now, we have not been able to do that. But that may change in the next year. We are working on that. Yeah. But since they are recorded, if someone is a good self-study, if you can study on your own, then and then ask questions, then later maybe in your sessions, because those who join a session are always in a Telegram group. Yeah. And then the Monday sessions where you have members interacting is very important. And I see Grace, you did join. Good evening, Grace. I'm calling Grace because she's been very active helping during those evening sessions. Hello, Grace.
Good evening, Prof.
Yeah. So I wanted to say, maybe you want to comment on how important are the evening sessions when it's only students.
Oh, sorry, I'm not even feeling too strong. The evening sessions have been very, very fruitful. I'm sorry, on Thursday, since I'm not feeling fine, since the Linux course, like the after effect of what I had is giving me down. So on Thursday there was no class, but for last week we did right up to fourth test. Like we have gone right up to the fourth. So what we did, we started from the first test of the Linux exams, from the one we bought from Udemy, and we really did it. It was so good because it was not one man thing, you know. It's not like we are listening to a teacher, we're sharing the ideas, coming to a conclusion, seeing why this answer is not the best, seeing why we should choose this answer. And for the first time we did test 3 and test 4, we had 100%.
Wow. Wow,
So
you all will be ready for the exam. I'm proud of you guys. Yeah.
it was really amazing, and it has been amazing even in the network evening session. The few times that we attended only us students, it was wonderful. Like we really worked hard to beat our brains to come to an agreement on why an answer is good and why the other one is not correct. Yeah, so I really encourage people, like even especially the Linux, like since we want to go in before we start mixing up Python and AWS, it's really good that we should meet up again, even during the holidays, because some people will be on holidays. It will be good that we should not give up the evening sessions. If not, some people will not take the exams because they might not be sure.
Right. No, Grace, I'm very happy to hear that. I know you've been really taking that leadership role and pushing it, helping people come together. So normally what happened, Magdalene, Barbara, I'm coming to your question. So after the Linux session, after we covered the Linux sessions, we encouraged the students to do the Linux Essentials certification. Certifications give people confidence. And since Linux is very important in the cloud space, so that is what Grace is talking about. They have been coming together and revising, and we always encourage that, because once people come together and even not knowing each other, they start doing that, it helps build the collaboration that you also need when you start working. So I'm really happy to know that you all are doing well and looking forward to take the exam before end of December, and then just then being in time for the Python sessions. Yeah. So Magdalene, if you were to start with the Linux session, there is actually one lady who has been doing it from behind, and she says she's able to follow the sessions. So what will happen is once you register, then we provide you access to all the material, and then you will then need to I can only encourage, maybe you are doing one course per day, and then you arrive there. Barbara, you had a question, so that I don't forget it. Please come in. Your hand was up.
Yes, Mike.
Prof, please let me just say something before I go off again. Okay. Anybody who is late and who wants to do the Linux course, if the person joins our group, can always write me privately, and anytime I have time. I have a flexible working time, so anytime I'm free, I can always join. I will be glad to do that.
Oh, great. Thanks for that, Grace. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. Yeah, Barbara, come in then.
Sorry, I work in the night, and as Madeline was saying, the time that you start the studies, I don't know. But in my workplace, it's not permitted to use phone and earphones on that etc. So I don't know how to.
Yeah, when do you finish your course? When do you finish working?
6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh no, okay. When we are already 30 minutes into the session, I know there are some people who had that same thing and struggled. Yeah, unfortunately, that is the time we have, and we record the session.
Is there a recording or something that we can follow?
Yeah, all our sections are always recorded, and then you can access them. Yeah, all the sessions are always recorded, and that's what I was talking about. The other lady who is using recorded sessions to catch up on her own. Yeah, I think that's Regina. She's not here today.
And we the beginners, how do we catch up with you guys? Because we see that you guys are very flying colors.
No, don't be surprised. You are here today. In 2 weeks' time, there will be some new people who will come in also, and you are ahead. So the only thing is to start. I will still encourage that, please just start with the recorded courses, and then give feedback on how you are feeling. And then here Grace is saying she's available. So if you can even attend the revision sessions, you can start you can maybe start following something. But the only way is to start somewhere, and you can start with the recording sessions for now, because the next time we announce the live sessions on Linux again, maybe coming when we finish the architecting course. But if things change, we may announce it earlier. Yeah, so it's better to just start with the recorded sessions.
So will you guys break? Are we breaking for Christmas, or we just follow up the whole season?
You mean, do we have classes during the Christmas period? No.
Yes, please.
Okay, no. Our networking class finish next week by Friday. Then we'll have a Saturday session again next weekend. We want to talk about the reInvent. And then after that, we are coming back, but on the 30th, I think, yeah. So
of January.
No, not 30th. After that, we're coming back on the 8th. And then the Python is starting on the 9th. We're coming back on the 6th of January on the Saturday session, and then the Python session is starting on the 8th. So
how can we catch up with
right? So
Python?
Yeah, if you register, we'll then give you the access to the Linux courses that you can start looking at the moment.
Yeah.
So that information will be sent to you on how to register after this call. And then once you register, you can then also join the Linux group. There's a Linux Telegram group where only Linux is being talked about. And then you also have access when revision is coming up. As you hear for Grace, there are some people who will want to be revising, and you can join that group when you want to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll provide you more information on how to register. And when you register, we'll then catch up with you one-on-one to sort that out, Barbara. Same
Thank
for
you
you,
very much.
Magdalene. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Good. Now, now I think we have talked on what else did I have on mind to talk about? We have talked about just registering and maybe any comments on anyone has something to share, right? We always have something that we're doing. If you've been doing something you want to just share, or you have words of encouragement, or maybe those who have been doing networking, the new people who started with Linux and are now gurus in Linux and networking. Maybe you want to share your experience or how you feel after starting your journey when you were really, really worried. Maybe sharing your experience will motivate Magdalene and Barbara to realize that even though they don't know, they can make it. Please feel free to come in. So it's open now. We have just 3 minutes. Very soon it's 10 o'clock. We'll be gone. So anyone wants to come up? Thank you very much, JD. We are glad to have you as well. Glad you like it, and we'll keep you informed on our next sessions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I also wanted to ask, because I know there's the premium. I don't mind going for premium, but is that just for the beginners, or how is it differentiated with the beginners and people doing SA, or is it all the same?
No, the SA is different as well. The premium is to help those starting, but when we say premium, that was done mainly to differentiate those who really wanted to put some small commitment. But with premium, you have more things like we have a collaboration with Entity Data, and and what they do is when you do the SA, you are able to join. Then we always have people who have completed the SA. They will have their recruiters who will be able to help people in maybe improving their LinkedIn profile, help people with their CV, help people with mock interviews, and this is done by their recruiters. And then they also have they have locations all over here in Europe, and then if you find a job on their website that you want to apply, they can always put you as priority if that's the case. And also when you are the premium, we also have the consulting of Wifon Cloud, where we are trying to bring those who have at least solutions architect, and then maybe understand where your journey is and where you want to go to, and then you can then maybe be working in the group and be building your skills. And if you get a job, fine, and go somewhere, that's fine. But we want to come to a position where if we get a project, then people in the consulting team can be able to come around and see to deliver in that project. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That was really informative. How do I, if I wanted to apply for that, is there a link, or do I just look forward to that in my emails, or
for the consulting to be in the consulting group?
No, to be in the premium, like to pay for the premium.
Right. Okay, I think join the Telegram group, and I think I can catch up with you. I think you shared the link. You the form. There's a Telegram. There's a form that when you get into, there's a Telegram link on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think I know which one you're talking about. Okay, no problem. That's fine.
Yeah. So once you're in that main group, most of that information we always share once in a while, and then but since you have access, I can then also reach out. If you're on Telegram, can then also reach out and provide the information. and then maybe clear other thoughts, questions. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good. Right. I think who should I put from the new team? Komela, how is the revision for SAA going? Juliet was here, but she left. I noticed you people joined the revision. How is it going? Tamojang. Tamojang, you want to come in? I see you're off mute. Kumela, I see you coming.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Tamojang.
Yeah, so the revision is going on well, even though, yeah, some few days I've not been there with my schedule, but yeah, it's going on well. Yeah, we have a group where we share questions, we discuss, and if anybody has anything, he brings it up to the group. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that's good. The deal was that we should clear that before the year runs out, hopefully that help. And as I mentioned, if there are challenges, just let us know, and then we'll then know if there's a topic that needs to be talked about, just let us know. Yeah. Right. And I think with that, it's 10 p.m. If there are any other pressing issues, I think you can all reach out to us. But for Magdalena and Barbara, we'll try to reach out to you just to get you started. And but for any other person as well, and please just feel free to send us message or reach out to any one of us for any assistance. And for those doing networking, you've come a long way. You have the last week coming up. I know you've been so engaged. Again, keep going. And then, yeah, before the break, and then we'll come back in January for the Python workshop, basically. So thanks, everyone. Have a great evening and a great weekend. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Prof. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you, Uncle Banjika. Bye-bye.
This one, let's see.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Kumala. Hey, you were there. I catch you.
I was in the background.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Uncle
I'll come for
Banjika.
you. Bye-bye. You.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Clotilde. Bye. Magdalene.